everyone. You're obviously confused and aroused.
Then where are we now? Do you have idiots on your planet?
It's me, Zoidberg, remember from high school?
Hello, you're listening to the Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we will be discussing Futurama Season 2, Episode 12, The Deep South, with your hosts, Tommy Roulette,
How's it going?
Pete Woodward,
That's me.
and I'm Rick Horchie. Joining us today is our special guest, Bill Squire. How's it going?
Great.
It's nice to have
Thanks
you back.
for being here.
It's great to be back.
I think this is the third time we had to reschedule this because of people dying, celebrity roasts.
Yeah, celebrity roasts. Not celebrity roast. The roast of Pete from the Funny Stop.
He's a minor celebrity.
Yeah.
Not like Mark from Norton Furniture celebrity or Tim Misny, but like
He's getting there.
If you pay attention to Cleveland comedy, you know who Pete is.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, though.
That
Do
sounds
you ever
like a
feel
good
like
time.
Tim Misny's going to end up on Trump's cabinet at some point?
He might end up defending him against this
How
something.
else is Mexico going to pay for the wall? Tim Misny's going to make them
Make
pay.
them pay. And for those of you who, most of our listeners are not in Ohio or Cleveland, Tim Misny is a local
You lucky
celebrity attorney.
bastards.
He has a really good sense of humor and is willing to sort of play his character in non-legal arenas.
How many states are you allowed to practice law in? Could you practice law in all 50 states? Have that? Like, could you get past the bar in all
It
50
depends.
states?
Some of them have reciprocity
I'm
agreements.
asking you like you would absolutely know the
it-
answer.
It depends, because I've looked into this before, and like you pass the bar in whatever state, but some states have reciprocity agreements with other states where if you go, I'm a lawyer in Ohio, so can I come into Michigan and practice law? And as long as you kind of make sure everything's filed, it's fine. Now, I don't know if that goes for all 50 states. It's not necessarily like a driver's license or even a marriage license, which I think we still got places that don't want to recognize certain ones of those around here.
Gloria Allred seems to be everywhere, right?
But is she really practicing law or just getting in front of a microphone?
I mean, she's representing people in lawsuits in other states. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. Like if there was like a world record of somebody practicing law and
The most law.
the most, and Tim Misny would be somebody that should go after that world record. That's that's all I was getting.
Oh, yeah.
In there.
I think, we can probably get that message back to him. For sure. There was some kind of super duck on the Jumbotron in this one.
It was Daffy Duck.
Was it Daffy Duck getting shot at by anti-aircraft missiles from a boat?
Probably a boat. I mean, it was so fast. The cartoon is called Scrap Happy Daffy from like 1946. I don't know. He's a superhero duck.
Do you think we could start up a project where you take a title like Scrap Happy Daffy and then just you go, here's the title.
No, work
Now
backwards.
work backwards. Like I'd like to see what a Chad Weaver would come up with a Scrap Happy Daffy.
I just picture some sort of like vigilante duck that loves to use guns.
And just like the Punisher
he's
almost.
Like, he's like strap happy. Oh. Or he's really into punishing children back in the day with some sort of leather strap.
He's basically like a nun in a Catholic school. Just
There's gonna be violence.
for sure.
Oh, he's a guard of a scrapyard doing his part to help America win the war against the Nazis.
Well, that's very literal and kind of disappointing. But you go get him, Daffy Duck. Apparently, maybe he turned into like an Iron Man or something. Like built a suit out of.
He turns into Super
That's
American.
Gizmo Duck. You're thinking of Gizmo.
I was gonna say, isn't that exists?
Does it?
Yeah, from
Blather and Blather Skites. God, you're so old.
Daffy's spirits come back up when he realizes Americans don't give up, and I am American Duck. And he turns into Super American, which is a reference to Superman.
Am I having a stroke? Because I don't understand anything that's going on.
We're just talking about old cartoons.
Okay.
You don't have to
But
be
not the right
exclusive.
old cartoons.
Yeah, not the right old cartoon. So I liked the intro to the episode where Nibbler is getting his fleas picked off him by Leela, and then Bender's doing the same thing to Fry. So was that supposed to be fleas or just general filth, or how often do you think he needs to do that?
I'm guessing that's at least a once a month thing for Fry.
How often do you think Fry showers?
I mean, there's episodes where he does shower, so
Yeah.
he does. But
So
I'm thinking
maybe
it's like
only
once,
those episodes.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like once every. I think he's probably like a once every 3 days kind of guy.
I'd say on average, there's episodes where I can't think of anything specific, but I feel like he's mentioned, like, I haven't showered in blah, 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 and it's like some ridiculous amount. Like when he got the 90s apartment and rented all the, Leela said something like, you haven't showered in, it was like weeks or something like that.
And he's like, yeah, same as usual or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a super hygienic fella.
I couldn't deal with that.
No, me
Like
neither.
my own filth just becomes overpowering after about 10 hours.
There's like there will be like a Saturday where I'm like, I'm not doing anything today, and like, I'll shower eventually, and then the day winds down, and I'm drunk, and it's nighttime, and I'm like, I'm just going to pass out. Like, that happens once in a while, but honestly, if I don't shower, just my hair and my skin feels greasy. I got to shower at least once a day, sometimes twice in the summer.
But the alcoholism does help with that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
You can
People
overlook a
rid
lot
of
of
that,
things.
yeah.
You can deaden your feelings. It makes your sense of smell less acute. I've always wondered about that because
I wish my sense of smell was less acute when I got here.
Oh, I know, that was crazy.
I actually registered for a pet license today.
You have to get a pet license?
For who?
Well, for my new
You don't really have
dog
to do that, right? This is
that
like
I
a
have
thing.
now. His name is Cody. And I just registered him with Cuyahoga County just because you have to do that within a certain time and in case he runs away.
Tom inherited his dad's vast fortune of a dog.
Yes.
Easy street from here on out.
Did you have to get a license for your Cody?
I did not. He's
Free range?
he's already registered by his grandma. So
Oh, okay.
You have a dog named Cody?
no, I have a person.
A person named Cody?
Yeah, he's my friend.
Protege?
Yeah, hey, he just is my friend that helps me out, and we do a podcast about with his grandma.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Oh, yes. Oh, right.
They gab with her.
Yes, we gab with grandma.
I'm familiar.
Yes.
All right, so we made it through one segment of the very beginning of the show and got super sidetracked already.
Did we even
Yeah.
get through the segment? Like,
I mean, we got through
We got through,
that
the
one
intro.
gag. Yeah, the first gag of the.
so like,
And
the
we didn't
first-
even get to the gag. I just said pet license and then mandatory fishing license is what they got, right?
How could Hermes screw that up, or do you think it was
No,
just
it
the
was
central
the-
bureaucracy messing
Yeah,
that
no,
up?
they screwed it up.
and I like that this episode follows the episode that is all about the central bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, remember this thing? Well, we're going to use it as a tool to get them out in the ocean.
I like that this episode happened in our chronology immediately after me getting back from Atlanta. So it all
Oh,
worked.
nice.
I was just in Atlanta last week, so I have some thoughts that we can get to later.
We haven't revealed yet that
No.
it's a Lost City.
But I think it's in the
in the description.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
I'm pretty
So-
sure people are well aware. I don't think you guys have to worry about spoilers.
But I like that the professor, being written by a bunch of MIT nerds, the fact that he was like, we're in the exact center of the Atlantic Ocean. This is the perfect place for fish to come congregate. Like, that sort of scientific arrogance I really liked because I encounter it
Does
a lot.
that hold true? Like, is that something that would be
No,
factual?
I don't. I think what it is you usually, if you're doing a study of something, you have your bell curve of where the median and the mean sort of congregate. You've got your most likely case, which would be the center of your distribution.
I fell asleep. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of almost like a math statistical joke.
Orchie, is the center of the ocean the best place to fish?
I don't know. I don't fish.
Oh.
I don't think so, because all the fishing shows that I watch on the Discovery Channel, this is how you guys, if you need to learn to be an expert at something, like
You
fishing.
watch Discovery.
I used to, but they weren't out in the middle of the ocean. They're just out in the ocean. They never said specifically in the middle. They have
They
little...
just be in a place.
Yeah, they're just in a place. So I think it's just a joke that... I think it's probably not a great place to fish.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Because if it's real deep, I would imagine that the sea life, as it were, like kind of
this is also
hangs
a-
along the bottom.
Yeah.
I was thinking about where the exact middle is in the Atlantic Ocean. I didn't look, actually. I mean, you have a globe up behind you, but this is 1,000 years in the future. It could be a different middle because land erosion and global warming and all that stuff. We don't know.
Well, first of all, none of that stuff exists.
No.
That's been proven.
What, land erosion, all that stuff?
Yeah.
All that climate change?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean, that's the line we have to kind of toe now. So just keep it cool, all right? We've already made a lot of disparaging comments about our incoming president, so we just want to get on the good side now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a Hummer.
I really like this episode, but all the whole beginning with all the fishing stuff, like I don't fish. I hate fishing, and nothing was funny to me.
Well, the part I didn't I thought there
there's
were
a
actually
great-
some great gags in there.
Yeah.
Except for Zoidberg's lines. That's the
You
only
didn't
thing
like
that I
any
like.
of
No,
the
no, no,
fishing
no.
jokes?
There was a bunch
No.
of good stuff.
Leela being such a braggadocious person, and she's got a spear, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch a fish with a spear," and then is she the one that catches?
Harpoon. She's
the
like, you,
harpoon,
she
yeah.
said
But
something like, you
it's
don't.
just-
And
she
you
catches
know,
a
lady
boot.
that has her own harpoon or something like that.
And then is she the one that catches?
yeah,
the
she catches the boot.
boot, and then she catches.
and then
she's like,
she's
whatever
this
it is,
feels
it was
like
like
20 times heavier than
It's 10 pairs of boots.
Yeah. Those were great.
That's
And-
great.
And then the third one is, whatever it is, it's definitely alive, and it's Zoidberg
Yeah.
with his
boot
claw
in
on
his
a
mouth?
boot, and she's like, you don't even wear boots. I wasn't wearing it. I was eating it.
Well, and Amy got off a line about the boot being.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
She,
yeah.
what did she say? It's like not big enough or something like because there's that whole big.
Yeah,
boot
we've
thing
gotten
that
right into
happens
the middle of the trend of
recently.
Amy like making fun of Leela for being
But
like a tomboy. Or
So the
whatever.
part I didn't understand though is when they first get to the ocean or the middle of the ocean, they have like the platform that descends below, which seems like it would be a lot easier to fish on. Like if you're closer to the water, and then they're all fishing like on top of the ship. Like that part didn't make sense. But Bender,
well, just visually, they'd be all crammed into that platform.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and you're
I
gonna,
guess they could do it. I don't
you're
know.
going to you're going to lose a lot of the visual gags. The Amy getting burnt as
Yeah.
Bender uses her umbrella to fish.
Plus,
I
it's
think-
more fun to be like on top of the ship.
Yeah,
like,
I think
you
on
know.
top of the ship is
more
a better way to do
precarious.
it. Yeah.
I liked where Bender summons whoever to do whatever. Goes, guess what? You're all accessories to now.
Oh, because they're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean,
yeah,
which is
in
international waters.
which everything's Earthican, so technically there are no international waters.
yeah.
That sounds like a continuity error.
It is.
That's my job.
It's
Like,
all right. There's
well, where
plenty
were
in
ya?
there. I'm sure you're gonna, you know.
I don't understand
Did
the
you get it?
political system.
Did you
of
want to argue with me
the year
about it?
3000. No, I wanted to wonder why
Trade hats for once.
with Leela and her notorious lack of depth perception because of her one eye, somehow she's an amazing spearfisher too.
She's
That seems a
also
little-
an amazing spaceship pilot.
But does she really have to pilot it? We don't need to go down this rabbit hole. I just thought it was sort of like consistently inconsistent with her whole deal because there's been more and more.
No, the
things
whole
that
thing
have
is that
happened.
she's overcome her disability. She has no depth perception. She has one eye, and she's really awesome at doing a bunch of stuff that, you know, the average person isn't even that great at.
Yeah, she
So.
doesn't let it hold her back. That's why Leela's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's okay. I mean, I agree totally.
It's just, you know, promoting that even more. Like
It's good.
nobody mentioned that the fishing license was mandatory. I thought that was funny.
I
Did you
did.
say
He
that?
did.
Oh.
He did
I
mention
did
it.
right at the beginning.
Well, the
When
way
he
you
was-
mentioned it must have not been very entertaining because I was not paying attention.
That's why
I was-
because he was asking. P was asking if it was Hermes who screwed it up or the central
Yeah.
bureaucracy. It was the central bureaucracy because when he gets it, he goes
You guys talking about it being the wrong license, right?
right. But the fact that he was so adamant about having to do the mandatory fishing for the license
Was that before or
was-
after you guys were trying to figure out where you could be a lawyer at? Because I totally zoned out.
All I know is I once caught a fish this big, and then I like the Bender follow
Yeah.
up.
With
I like
the
that they did that.
telescoping arms.
Yeah.
And then like kind of did that like little easy one with with his robot arms, and then like revisit again and did a little better one where he pulls out the fish and shows it to him literally in person. He's like, "Don't exaggerate."
I liked Zoidberg's continuing.
fish like that.
Wow. I feel I keep coming up like a Chris Farley thing. Like I like the thing. Remember that thing that I like.
That's kind of this whole show. Is
I
like,
know,
I
this
wrote
is-
down a
this is
bunch
a
of
really
jokes
good
every
one,
week.
though.
Like I like this joke. This
Remember?
was funny.
But Zoidberg once again antagonizing Hermes by eating all of his bait. As the bait critic is like, oh, let me find out which one is the most savory, and then just tearing through it, knowing that Hermes hates him already with a passion. He's got a fiery temper directed at Zoidberg at almost all times. And then for Zoidberg to just go and like eat all of his fish seemed.
But
is Zoidberg
those
that
sardines
self-aware?
were what?
Dry and tasteless, I believe.
Yes, and then the earthworms, though juicy, very juicy.
And the fact that he was eating on the bait, but it's still like, I'm gonna eat a boot too.
Oh yeah,
It's just I love his. You can't ever please him. He always wants more.
he's kind of insatiable.
Mm-hmm.
I think really, I think he's trying to fill the hole of loneliness.
He always wants more, and he'll eat anything. That's why I like that too. Like when
Right.
When they have the episode where they all get the $100, and he keeps trying to like buy food with it, and it's always like something fancy, and then he just doesn't he buy hot dogs at the end or something?
He buys a meal for.
Yeah, he buys a
all
bunch
the-
of like hot dogs.
Wasn't it
yeah.
hot dogs?
I think so. Yeah. For the bums.
But he doesn't get his hands on Hermes Manwich.
That looked like a delicious sandwich too. I was kind of sad to see.
It's not a
it go.
sandwich.
I understand. I just meant in the abstract. Like he was.
As far as cartoon sandwiches go, yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
it looked
That
like a really good.
it was. Were you high when you watched this?
No, I'm just a fan of sandwiches. I'm not like.
I'm a fan of like sloppy joes like and manwich. That was
I mean,
that-
Tom's a
Ideal.
fan of man.
witches.
I,
Man witches.
I know.
A
you know,
Manwich is called a sorcerer.
I thought it was Warlock.
Yeah, Warlock.
As
yeah.
far as sandwich enthusiasm goes, like I think Ramon Rivas gets a lot of the credit in Cleveland, but I think I could give the guy a run for his money. I've learned from him. I mean, like the chips on a sandwich or like putting Cheetos on a ham sandwich. Like,
You never knew that? That's
No,
something I
no,
did
no,
since I
no,
was a
but-
kid.
yeah, I didn't have that stuff laying around the house though.
Oh, okay.
Sandwiches.
No, like
I had to
They-
eat
did your
chips and
dad keep a
Cheetos and
sandwich
things.
locked in a
I did a sandwich just of Lay's potato chips and mustard. And that was just I eat those now for pleasure.
Wait. Do you use the potato chips as?
No, it's
The
bread, and then you put Lay's potato chips, but you make sure you put mustard on both pieces of bread, and then you just
Or else
eat.
it's terrible.
Yes. Because you get too much mustard on one side, and then it's like the roof of your mouth or the tongue, whichever the way you eat it. But you need the balance of the mustard, potato chips, and bread.
White bread, wheat bread,
White bread.
multigrain.
Always white
Yeah,
bread.
if you-
There's no other bread but white bread.
I switched to wheat bread. Yeah. I know. Don't we can still be friends, right?
I'm hoping maybe in like 10 years I'll switch
Forgive
to
me.
a better bread.
Oh,
but
yeah. Do it now.
His dad just died. He's trying to
Yeah.
work through some stuff. He can't deal with a change in sandwich structure.
all the more reason to switch to wheat bread.
I'm pretty sure I
Your
ate
genes
an
aren't
entire
strong, and neither are mine.
baguette, like a 6-foot-long baguette, while I was down there.
You said you didn't see any alligators. Were you able to eat any alligator while you were there?
No,
I did.
no.
Yeah, it's
I
delicious.
ate,
It was in New Orleans.
I ate turkey, normal Thanksgiving things, and then honey baked ham for most of the rest of the time.
In a boot.
What's the most Zoidberg-like thing you've ever eaten?
Me?
Any of you? We'll
yeah,
go
but
around
what's,
the table.
what's a Zoidberg like thing? Because he eats anything.
Right, but like you have to think of something that someone else wouldn't eat. So
The same deviled egg.
the same deviled egg. Okay, that's a good one.
A Hershey Kiss with the wrapper on it.
Ooh,
Oh,
Ooh, that makes my teeth hurt.
Yeah, I was there for that. We were all not even for money.
We've
No, it was
already
for money. It was
talked,
for like
we've
$1,
talked
right?
about this on this
Yeah,
podcast.
we were all
before.
like doing things, whatever our,
It was for a
Sean
bet.
Jaundice could come up with, and you put a Hershey Kiss in the microwave, right, and then ate it, or with the wrapper on, or whatever.
No,
Put a
no,
you can't put
I
a Hershey
ate
Kiss
it-
in the microwave.
No,
with
I
the wrapper
ate
on.
it.
It'll-
I ate it with the wrapper on it. Then I put another one in the microwave to prove that it's not tinfoil
because it's
anymore.
not actually tinfoil. It's like
So
really
it's like,
papery,
I didn't know that.
paper,
Yeah.
like yeah.
Either way, my
I ate a
dental work is
tablespoon of-
screaming right now. Just terrible.
It wasn't bad. It was like eating a Hershey Kiss with like paper on it. Like
I ate a
you just-
tablespoon
that's
of
how
salt
bad,
and
yeah.
threw up.
Oh, if it was actual tinfoil, no, I couldn't do that.
Pete, what about you?
I've eaten a lot of crazy stuff, so it's but I don't think of it as like weird. Like the Chinese buffet on 150th, they'll serve frog legs in the evening. Those are all right. I mean, really eating anything out of that place is questionable to
Right.
begin with. Escargot, haggis, general organ meat. I mean, like if
General organ meat?
yeah.
It's just a sign in the deli that just says general
yeah,
organ
just
meat.
non-denominational organ meat.
Are you sure it didn't say genital organ meat?
I'd eat that too.
Rocky
It
Mountain
hasn't
oysters?
been. I mean, it hasn't been served to me, but I totally.
Has
do
anybody
that.
have Rocky Mountain?
No,
Yeah, I've had
thanks.
those before.
Have you?
I think the strangest, the most Zoidberg-like thing I've ever eaten, though, and they were okay, the balls that I ate, was, I think I was in like 4th or 5th grade, and I was just trying to like gross out a girl, and I just started eating my lunch bag. and they're just like eating it and swallowing it and just
You
being
mean like the
no, it's
plastic
fine."
sandwich bag, like the Ziploc?
No,
bag?
no, like the brown paper bag.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
like eating
Oh,
that.
that's like basically the wheat bread that Horchie makes the sandwiches on now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked. She thought it was disgusting. And I don't know why that was so important to me at the time, but it seemed like a good idea.
And then
It
you
was
took
all
her
about-
to prom.
Yeah.
It
is
was
there,
all
like-
about.
No,
putting it
then I
out.
never saw her again.
But when you're that age, whatever you could do to like show any kind of whatever you could do to
You're just trying to elicit a
metaphorically
reaction.
tick your dick out, you know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
Wait. So you were trying to get attention as a child, and now you're a stand-up comedian.
I know, weird, right?
That's bizarre.
Yeah. Do you guys have any brown paper bags?
Actually, I got a whole
I think
bunch of
10
the-
minutes of your set should
Hang
just
on.
be you finishing a brown paper bag.
Just eating it, but not ever mentioning it
No.
or calling attention to it. Just doing it,
balling it up and
Yeah.
chewing on it while you're talking.
Or just as you're doing your set, just continue to eat it.
Yeah,
And by
exactly,
the end,
yeah.
that's your
It's all
way
gone.
you finish, where you eat the last bite.
All done. See ya. Have a good night.
and then the later set would just be you passing it.
In other syndications, they edited Sweet Zombie Jesus to
Yeah,
just
I wrote
be
that
Sweet
down.
Zombie.
I remember
Really?
Yeah,
when
they
it
took
came
that
out on
whole
Fox. I remember seeing like this episode, when it aired or whatever, and then at some point, I didn't write down the networks, but they took it off of they edited just Jesus, right? It was
They
Sweet
took out
Zombie
Jesus.
blank.
Yes.
On TBS, Comedy Central, I think, and another network.
That seems weird that Comedy Central would do that because I don't think
That's
they
the
would
thing.
care.
No,
but-
Comedy Central, they didn't do it. It was like
Are you sure?
on
What was it?
it was on like TBS, and then there was like Sky One, and like other countries
okay.
ended up having it changed.
Because there was a
And it used to be on Adult Swim too.
Yes.
Or, like at the beginning.
yeah, and I
right?
definitely can't see Adult Swim. Like, maybe I don't know.
But it was Adult Swim, kind
Like
of
early Adult Swim.
I mean, not super early, but they weren't pushing things the way they are
Yeah.
now. So they might have edited it on there, but I don't remember.
Either way, I remember like a couple years after whatever I was watching in syndication, I saw that and I was like, oh, I was surprised, you know.
that they would drop that.
Well, just because I don't know if it was just the Jesus part, the way that you couldn't say "God damn it" before on. I don't think you can say "God damn
Well,
it."
and
on
and
network
more to the
television.
point, the undead
they-
aspect of the Jesus legend is really the whole point.
That's why it's so funny.
Yeah.
Right, but when they showed it to the Pope at the Vatican, they also cut it out too. So
I don't know. Have you seen the trailers for that new HBO show about the Pope? Because I think he's up to some, nefarious business.
no, I haven't.
I've just
Yeah.
seen the picture and I haven't been
Is the HBO show about?
unbored enough to watch the trailer.
Is
Did
it about the gay pope?
It's about the young Pope.
That's what it's
Oh.
called, right? The young Pope.
Yes.
Is it Jude Law who's in it? What is it?
I don't know. Some guy in a pointy hat. But the way that the trailer is cut, it makes it look very salacious being in the Vatican. Like imagine House of Cards
At the Vatican.
at the Vatican, and that's got all kinds of stuff going on.
Okay,
There's-
try imagine Neverland Ranch. Stop.
Wait, now or in like 1995?
Well, nobody's there now, isn't it? Just covered in moss.
Are you sure nobody's there now?
It's just Macaulay Culkin and
I thought there was like
and a monkey, right?
An abandoned zoo
They go on adventures
and like hippie squatters.
Yeah, there might be, but I think we'll go with 1995. We'll go back to when
Full-on
things were
debauchery.
happening. Yeah, back in the Jesus Juice days.
Oh,
Zoidberg was so sure that he would save them after the colossal mouth bass took the
That was one of my
harpoon
favorite
down.
moments. And then the little sound he makes when he's like, he's like
Trying to cut
struggling
the
cut the
the unbreakable diamond line.
is it Unbreakable? Is that what he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbreakable diamond tether.
I like when Bender hooks it up to the umbrella hook, the parasol hook, and he's like, and Professor Farnsworth is like, be careful with that. You said it's unbreakable. It belonged to my grandmother.
It was an antique.
Yes.
Do you think it was if his grandmother on Fry's side or on the other side?
My guess is it's on the Farnsworth side because probably something that belonged to. She was probably also a scientist.
So she just had it in her her regular winch
Yeah.
arsenal. Okay. Some of that stuff, it's I don't know. You start thinking about it too much, and it gets weird. But when the
I don't.
But when the professor goes,
I
the
don't think about
Meccano
anything
man
too
caught
much."
something. I like that. Zoidberg, his de facto thing is robot,
Are they
but
still
the
fishing?
Meccano man.
Yeah, they're still
Yeah.
fishing. We have gone very slow. But they caught a fish,
Yeah, they're colossal mouth bass, and they get shoved.
which would be a freshwater fish.
Uh,
I guess there's sea bass.
Yeah, what about sea
Yeah.
bass?
All right,
Okay.
never mind.
uh,
We don't know much about fish.
kick his ass, sea bass.
no, damn it! You can go first. You can't throw the salt shaker at him. He'll spit in your burger.
Is it is it CSEA or is it C like the C word?
What for
Yes.
sea bass?
Yes, it's cunt
Yeah.
bass.
I can't believe it took like 25 episodes for us to break that line.
I like that.
Oh, was I the first to
yeah,
utter the...
you were the first one.
I'm honored.
I like that. That makes me think of the. Did you notice when they're jumping ahead? But we'll go back. Dropping the Ted Turner statue, and it says SEANN.
Yeah,
C.
yeah.
Is that what made you think of that, or was that
No,
okay? No, I was asking him. You didn't say.
I'm
sea
answering
bass.
for him.
No, so they get dragged to the bottom of the sea by this big fish.
And the ship's flooding.
The ship's flooding. It's exploding. And
Well,
then
he's asking how many atmospheres.
That is my favorite joke in the whole.
5,000 atmospheres or whatever it is, or 500 or something like that. Well, how many can? Well, it's a spaceship, so 0 to 1, and then we'll need something to what's the term I'm looking for?
Equalize the pressure.
Yeah, and then all the pipes explode, the water comes in. Like that should do it, and then it goes into fry. Hold on, hold on. We need
Yeah,
something.
as it's flooding, the places, everyone's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And Fry's like, hold on, I'll be right back. And
they flush
like
his-
he flushes the toilet. Feels like, oh, he knew he was doing that. And he's like, okay, what happened?
He's
Like,
lifting up his
he's
hands, coming
completely
back in.
unaware of his heroic action.
So all of their out, when they go outside the ship to check things out, like
I like how you held in that cough. You were like,
I'm
oh,
trying. I'm
oh.
on so many drugs for this right now, and I'm sorry if I sound like Jerry Lewis with the lozenge in my mouth. Like I'm not doing that on purpose. If you hear
Which
clicking
kind
on
of
my
Jerry
teeth.
Lewis? Serious Jerry Lewis, or like, hey, leaving?
The women aren't funny Jerry Lewis. The really past his prime.
The sad clown.
Yeah, sad clown. I don't mean it. But like, despite the fact that there's so many atmospheres under the water, like they're just walking around, no trouble. And Fry just has a big garbage bag full of air with
Yeah. Straw. And not just, I mean, he has that for oxygen, but for the pressure, he has a suppository.
Yeah.
Good news.
It's like,
I can't swallow that.
because Professor presents the suppository. He's like, no way I could swallow that because it's gigantic. And
Good news,
and
everyone.
that's one of my favorite good news
Yeah.
by the
Oh,
professor
yeah,
ever.
definitely, yeah.
He seems pretty obsessed with suppositories.
Oh yeah, because later when they're getting the breathers from the mermaid people, he's this thing's uncomfortable and just
And embarrassing?
embarrassing. So, but if it was a suppository,
I
great.
are suppositories a because we're all relatively.
Have you ever had to take a suppository?
I've had to take suppositories, but really not since I was a child. And it
Here's the
seems
thing:
more like
I haven't had to take one, but I have. What does that tell you
Oh,
this
yeah.
about me?
I had one. It was, a kid, and my grandma gave it to me. She was a retired nurse at the time, so she was the best.
And she built that
Best
entire
of
what was
Rube
going on?
Goldberg
They
system
were on
to
I
get
used
it
to
in
not
here,
poop
bud.
when I was a kid.
they were on
Okay.
vacation
And,
at Neverland Ranch.
I would go like days, maybe over a week sometimes.
Without
like,
pooping?
Yeah, like
Oh.
real bad, and because it was evil and I was Catholic, and
dirty.
Jesus knows what you were doing
like
in there.
I don't have specific memories of it happening, but I remember like the before and after. Like grandma's gonna put this in your butt,
which
And-
is way less traumatizing than just holding your poop until you can't. I mean, and then there's the whole like poop touching aspect of it, which you think would be like unclean too.
Oh, we
I
didn't have
just-
any unclean stuff. It just
I mean, I know it was. I'm not intimating that your grandmother was doing anything untoward. She's just
no.
trying to
I
help
meant
you. It's
Catholics.
just
There's no like oh you can't do this because this. Yeah, I mean unclean.
You just got to confess it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I touched a poop. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. I touched a duty.
Is it? Would it be more penance or less if it was your own or someone else's?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so
It's got to be more if it's somebody else's. It's kind of like masturbation is one level of sin, and then
Yeah,
premarital sex is another level.
So if you're touching
higher
someone,
level.
if you're touching someone else's privates, it's worse than if you're touching your own.
Yeah.
But it doesn't count for medicine.
But what if it's just touching poop?
Also doesn't count
And
if
then
it's
does-
medicine.
and then does-
also
wait.
touching poop is okay in the Catholic Church.
Like-
that's their new slogan. You can touch all the poop you want.
Also, if you're like there's
As long
just
as you don't do it
poop
with your dick.
somewhere coming out, and you just touch it, you have a lot more problems than just a sin.
What? Oh God, I don't know how we got down here. It's probably my fault.
Suppositories.
Suppository.
What? Okay. What?
We
Did
were
everyone take their?
We were talking about where you could
pills?
be a lawyer in what state, and
What?
then
What if someone pooped somewhere and then you touched it because you were picking it up and cleaning it up? Still a sin?
No.
No, because godliness is next to cleanliness, or vice versa.
But now
so-
you're covered in shit.
yeah, but you're making things clean
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Yeah.
What if you then took
Godliness
that
is-
shit that you cleaned
next
up
to loneliness.
and smear it
And
on your face.
loneliness
or
is
just
empty.
use it in some kind of a
Just
prank?
like me.
Well, then,
If
if it's a mean spirited prank, then it's a sin. But if it's just like a classic, put the poop in a bag, light the bag on fire, that's God thinks that- God loves that. God thinks that's hilarious.
L.A. What would Jesus laugh at?
Those would be great bracelets.
That's how you determine if a joke's a sin or not.
there was
So, anyways,
Down
Fry
to the
caught a
point.
fish. It was really small, and
But then
Bender
he
said that's not even fit for a fish stick or something like that.
a
And then he says,
it was beautiful.
fish this fine
Oh, what? It,
which
no.
should go in a
Oh shit! I
chicken
had it.
nut-
I had it. written,
chunklet or something.
chunklet.
Fish
Something
nugget
chucking.
style chunklet.
That's
Yeah.
it. Anyway, so
All right. Thank you for getting
Suppository.
us off of suppositories and poop touching.
We'll come back.
So they go out. They go out. They're walking around. Oh, one of my favorite Fry jokes on the episode is they're like, Zoidberg, you go out there, you can, and Bender, because you can, you don't have to worry about oxygen or whatever. And then Fry's like, I'm gonna go with them. They don't know what I want when they're
Yeah, they don't know what I like to eat. Right. And so they get out there, and then Fry's got the bag of oxygen. He sees a mermaid, and he's trying to alert Bender and Zoidberg that he's seen them, and but he can't communicate.
Yeah.
He can't speak underwater. So that
It's all blah, blah, blah.
yeah, and then it cuts to him back in the ship, and they're all eating food, and he's still going.
Yeah, that was good.
The line
Zoidberg's one of my-
Zoidberg
is,
finds the shell.
They're like you. Oh no! Before when he's comes up and he's like, "Oh no, right!" and Bender's like, "What? You saw a parade and you want some lemonade?" And Zoidberg's like, "Your student loans are paid. Well, why not give some money to your old pal Zoidberg, Mr. Millionaire?"
Yeah.
Well, even before that is when he finds the shell because he has Bender
Oh, yeah,
helping
yeah,
him
yeah.
with the couch.
Look
but
at
he's
me,
like,
Zoidberg,
look at me,
homeowner.
This was a good one for Zoidberg lines.
Oh, dude, yeah. There's a lot of yeah.
I mean,
Can you help me
overall,
move a couch?
not to do the recap, but it was a really solid episode. I thought going through it. So Fry finds his mermaid.
Umbrella.
Well, when I love when he
Umbriel.
goes back outside, he gathers a bunch of oxygen into a suitcase,
He just says oxygen and starts moving his hand like.
and then he gathers all in there, and then immediately loses it. So even if it could somehow
Yeah.
be useful, he still lost.
I would have
it.
liked to see his attempt of like putting the suitcase over his head to like put it
Right.
in the water,
Kind of like a diving bell or something.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminded me of Splash a little bit in the original, at the very beginning where boy Tom Hanks meets girl Daryl Hannah before.
Oh yeah, I didn't
when
even
they're
think
young
of that.
and,
Yeah, that was a
and they're together and it's safe. But the fact that she had the little breather right away
ready,
was super helpful.
which yeah, it's helpful, but it brought up a lot of questions. Like the Colonel says our biggest whatever here is tourism, but she'd
It's a
never seen a
lost
human
city.
before. She's like, I like those little doodads at the
your
at
wiggly
hips.
doodads.
Oh,
yeah,
pants.
That's the whole. Well, number one, it could be tourism from. So
Oh, from
they,
other mermaids.
they find
maybe?
the lost city of Atlanta.
Right. Which
There
is
could
hilarious.
It could be other tourism from other mermaids, or the fact that their entire industry is based off of tourism, and yet no one ever comes to visit.
Yeah, and maybe that's the joke. Like that it
Well,
would work
that
either
was the
way.
whole reason the city moved, was to increase tourism,
Yeah.
have more people come there, and then it started to sink, and they had to get all the celebrities out, which were Jeff Foxworthy, who else?
Ted Turner.
Hank
The
Aaron,
guy that invented Coke.
The guy that
The
invented
magician.
Coke.
and the magician, which is my favorite.
And then I love
just
that-
Jane
the
Fonda
magician.
for some
all the
reason.
legends of our time. Also Jane Fonda. Was it. And I love that it was Donovan doing the like.
Well, okay, so that brings up two things. Two celebrity guest voices. Parker Posey
Yeah,
played
I
Umbriel,
love Parker
Umbriel.
Posey.
and
Which is based
the other
off
moon.
of the other moon. Ariel from Little Mermaid. There are two moons that orbit Uranus.
oh,
They changed it. Eurectum.
All right. To end that joke forever.
And then what was that? It was one of the.
That's really smart and really funny, and I didn't know.
No
that.
idea.
I just thought
Yeah.
Umbriel was like a funny name.
yeah.
I thought it was something sexual. I thought Umbriel sounded like some kind of like sexual organ part that like a.
Well, one day you'll have sex and realize.
You have to put that wiggly doodad into that.
Maybe you'll meet one of the other kinds.
I've
of
never
mermaids.
done this. I've seen Futurama. Where's your umbrella?
I just got back from Atlanta,
And then she puts her eggs out, and then I fertilize it.
and it was I kind of wish some of it was underwater because some of it was kind of dirty. I apparently caught fin rot while I was there because I've been sick as a dog since I got back. I did have some good food, and I also my friend and I both got ripped off by two unscrupulous cab drivers.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was really. I mean, it was a real mixed bag down in Atlanta.
but
and
good food, good sandwiches, right?
Some of it,
Okay.
some of it, because I spent a lot of time in the convention center. It was a work thing, and I paid $12 for a really mediocre turkey sandwich and a Coke.
Did you see any land sea lions or see a squid whale fight?
Sounds like Pete's come back
I-
with a real bad
no.
case of ocean rudeness.
Yeah, right. I saw.
Have you ever heard
some,
of a land sea lion? I trained them.
They're like, there was some weird lion sculptures. There were actually a lot of weird sculptures all over the city. Some of them
Yeah.
surprisingly racy, given the
90% of
A lot of
them
it
are
is
Ted
Turner.
Turner.
Man. He fucking,
Really?
That dude. Yeah, man. For like a weird billionaire guy, like, kind of admire some of the like. If he did build the Georgia Guidestones, like that's kind of.
Do you think he did?
I don't know. I like probably. Yeah, he probably did. But I like to live in a fantasy world where someday like one of the crazy things is gonna come true. Whether it's or not come true, but somebody's gonna some crazy coast to coast thing is finally gonna, even if it's like a little thing.
All right, hang on a second. I know we're on the same page here. Do you know what the Georgia Guidestones are?
I
know
do
the
not
Georgia
know.
Guide- okay.
I don't either.
Pretty boring. All right, look at
Yeah,
that, folks.
we're getting
Anyways.
into Boogie Monster territory here. I started binging that podcast and just listened to that one. It's great. It's Kyle Kinane and Dave Stone. Very good. Georgia Guidestones is this weird Stonehenge thing that got built up in the mountains of Georgia by someone.
It's like these like four like pillars.
You've seen them, haven't you?
It's in I think 7 different languages. There's these 10 sort of like
Commandment-esque things.
Yeah. And it's
Thou
kind of
shalt
this like
watch
New World Order
CNN.
commandments, like
Yeah.
the population should be kept at
500,000.
whatever, and I don't know.
It's pretty weird. Go look it up
It's-
on
it's-
Wikipedia.
it's-
'Cause,
Yeah.
like it's more.
It's weird that it's there and no one knows who built it. That area has a huge deposit of whatever stone they used, and that's like a big a business there is like those stones. The guy that made the deal to build them from his company died recently, but before that, he took the secret to his grave. Somebody came. He kind of like alluded things to like who it was, and that's why people think it's Ted Turner, and they think he did it to piss off the Baptists because I guess he was always at odds with them.
Well, all those
South or
naked
whatever.
statues he was throwing up all
Yeah,
over
there's a
Atlanta.
lot
I
of-
believe
yeah.
it.
But it's weird.
I mean, look, the thing is, the inscriptions are
It's in the
shit
middle
you
of
can
nowhere.
find.
It's
Yeah,
just-
but you can find that kind of weird stuff written all over the internet.
Yeah.
But the fact that somebody like built them into
Ted
this
Turner
Stonehenge
did it like
thing for no reason.
40, 50 years ago or whatever. That's like
yeah,
you
they
know.
just kind of popped up one day.
Yeah, they were just
So he's
there.
like OG.
Somebody built him and they were just I know, yeah.
Somebody was trolling that entire city.
Yeah, no, that the whole northern Georgia. It's like it's not by anything. You have to like drive.
Oh,
we had to
it's-
drive like 40 minutes from Athens to like
How come those never came up on The Walking Dead?
Why would they?
They
Where-
probably just can't get it up there to shoot. It's probably like a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they
it's-
also shoot in California. Or
No,
whatever.
they don't. No, they
No, they
shot.
shouldn't.
They
They
still
shoot it.
shoot in Georgia, and they're
Oh, do
actually
they?
now they're around Washington or whatever, right? Because they were.
I mean, that's where
headed
it all
Oh.
takes place, but they're still filming everything in Atlanta.
They're still filming everything.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, they have
Oh,
a
I-
studio there, and
Oh, yeah,
it's all done there. Because like Norman Reedus, I do a Walking Dead podcast, so I know a little
You
bit more
do?
about that. I
I
do.
know that.
I do a
Bill,
lot.
Bill is.
You mentioned
a,
that last time.
I don't know.
Do you know how hard it is to start a podcast?
Yeah, not at all.
No.
No,
A
wait,
microphone and a voice.
So there's tons of stuff down there. I mean, the sanctuary that was the prison.
Yeah.
And that's the studio that they filmed everything in, and they've turned that into the sanctuary now. And then
Oh,
a lot of
really?
those floors are like CGI.
So the towers are like CGI, right? But the base level is like there, or is the whole factory like CGI or whatever?
just the base level's real. And
Oh,
then
okay,
they're-
alright.
the top floors are CGI. So yeah.
So they're
Yeah,
fixing the propulsion drive with paper mache, waiting for that to
Yeah.
dry. But then they went through the whole. So they start talking about Ocean Madness, and then they listed off a whole bunch of other names.
And they got
for
bored
Ocean
and
The
let
Madness.
deep
Leo
down
in the room.
crazies.
The, deep
Yeah.
the Screaming Moist was another good one. There was
That sounded like it had more. I
shoot.
felt like she got cut off. It was like the screaming moist, and then there was like
Well, weren't they all walking away?
Yeah,
from
they,
her?
like,
That's
left
when
her in the
Leela
room, like-
starts droning on, and they're like, "All right, bye."
but Hermes gets off a "You poor demented hunky," which was beautiful.
yeah, that was good.
It took me a while to. Wow, we really took a side trip there. Both Parker Posey and Donovan as celebrity guest voices. Is that, I think up to now, maybe Leonard Nimoy and Bob Barker were the only ones. I mean, there haven't been many.
By now, I feel like
Anderson?
there's been more than
Pamela
that. Yeah,
Anderson.
Pam Anderson. I'd say if I was just going to throw a number out there, I'd say there's been like 5 to 10 celebrity
Does it
guests
start
since
to ramp up at some point? Because this
the
would have
Beastie
been
Boys.
Oh yeah, the
You get the
Beastie
Beastie
Boys.
Boys.
Yeah.
You get
But
Al
we're talking
Gore.
just up until this point.
Up
but
until
then,
this
yeah,
point.
later
Okay,
there's
I'm
tons.
trying to-
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
okay.
trying to
Back.
It seemed like two pretty
Bectionary.
big gets because for Parker Posey, this would have been like right around the Best in Show period.
Probably
I
before.
think.
Maybe
Came
right
out
around there.
April
You're right. It's probably
2000,
right around there.
so somewhere around there. Like, is that when Best in Show came out around 2000?
It might even been earlier than that.
I feel like that anything happened after I got out of high school, it's new. So like, to me, Best in Show is a pretty new movie.
Yeah, sure. Even though a lot of the people that sort of came to prominence in that have gone on to really long and storied careers since then.
Yeah, but they already did before then. That wasn't like a bunch of nobodies when they made that. That was a bunch of people that had been in other Christopher Guest stuff and been doing
Yeah, it was
comedy for
pretty well
years.
established.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For Best in Show, that was like his.
Yeah,
I think that was a star turn for Jane
I mean that was
Lynch.
definitely
It
one of the
definitely
more
helped his like Christopher
prominent
Guest, like
movies that he did, but there was a ton of stuff before that.
most of those
They
people.
were
And
are
those
all-
people,
yeah.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
all in a bunch of.
I mean, Spinal Tap.
Parker
This is
Posey was
Spinal
already
Tap
like the
and
indie queen by then, and then like
Okay, so that
she was
was
in Dazed and Confused. That's where I know Parker Posey.
Yeah,
is
that was
from.
that's if you want to talk about a movie that launched a lot of careers.
Oh,
Dazed
yeah,
and
yeah,
Confused
that was
is the
where-
movie to
I,
talk about.
I was thinking
'Cause
more
everybody's young
along
in
the
that.
lines
Yeah.
of Jane Lynch and Jennifer Coolidge. I think that I don't know if she had been Stifler's mom yet or not, but
I think it was right around the same time.
right around this. I mean, she was. I
I
mean,
think it was right.
I think she was known
It was
from,
right
the,
around the same time.
from
I
the
feel like it was, like, right
Groundlings
after.
and some
Yeah.
other bit parts here and there. But I think that was where she kind of blew up.
I would agree with you on Jane Lynch though. I think that would be.
Yeah, I feel like before that, yeah, and then since then, everything. You know.
Why was Bender reading that magazine? Okay. First of all, when Fry says he sees a mermaid and everyone like disregards what he says, and then he tries to explain about like crazy creatures that he's seen, and everything. But when they go back towards the end, when they're waiting to take off, when Fry decides to stay with
Umbriel.
Umbriel, Bender's reading the Atlantic Monthly, and it says short stories by a clam.
I never noticed that. See, that's one of those
Or it's
like
short fiction by a clam.
no matter how many times, and who knows, maybe another 10 times of that episode, I finally would have noticed that or whatever. That's.
I had to go back and pause it, and then I'm like, where's that magazine come from, though? Like, they had no idea that the mermaids
There's
existed, so
not,
why...
not even the mermaids. Wait, so he was reading that when they were in the
when they were
Atlanta?
waiting to go for the papier-mâché engine.
So they were
the
still on the
fin
ship.
thing, yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
like an ocean magazine.
Right.
Yeah, so
Well-
they probably grabbed it from the city.
Oh, that's okay.
It's one of
Maybe,
their
yeah,
publications.
Okay. I
That's
didn't
one of
think
the
about that.
Lost City of Atlanta's most popular.
Why was it so hard
Publications.
for them to believe that there were mermaids and mermen, though, given, like, they found all those mutants underneath New York in old New York? You know, and, like, all
But
of
those
the
were
aliens,
also
and it's like-
legends.
yeah, but it's like...
The same
Okay,
reason
there's-
that you
okay,
guys don't
there's a
believe me
weird-
when I talk about Bigfoot, because we haven't found him yet.
There's
so-
a weird creature that's half lady, half fish. I mean, it seems believable given all the other... I mean,
the world that they live
There was
in.
a really
they're
good
with a
Rick
lobster
Sanchez.
man. Their doctor is a lobster man. So why is a half? I mean, is it that big of an?
But that's why I
abomination?
think that's why it's so
That's-
funny that they're so dismissive of it, because Fry, of all of them, would be the one that would be unaware of mermaids existing.
Yeah.
And they are all unaware because they're just like, I don't know. And why would Atlanta, if they moved it off the coast, how would it end up in the exact middle of the Atlantic Ocean?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, there's, some holes.
And
There's always holes.
the other thing, so those are all like the descendants of the people from. Like, how many people like just drowned from being under the ocean before they developed into
Yeah, I like
mermaids?
the little like wash of just like they're all standing there and then they had fins. You know, yeah.
I mean,
a little bit of
probably a
caffeine.
lot. It's a landlocked city.
One of my favorite lines when she puts the when the Fry meets the mermaid and they start talking and puts the breather in his mouth and he's just like, "So, am I gonna drown?" And then she's like, "Just let the cool caress of the ocean current, just relax." And did it just get warmer in here? And then they go and they're by the lava or whatever that. What was that? They were by like some
the volcano
molten,
vent
yeah,
or something.
And then he puts the little like shrimp things there. And she's like,
This
"Did
is
it get
cool.
colder in here?" And then was there a third one? Did
Uh,
you do
Nah, there's just two, I think, for that.
But Zoidberg follows his pee basically to find him.
Oh, you know what? Fuck. Just because I thought of it because he was like sniffing around with his little doodads on his face. The fish pheromone. We totally forgot when.
Oh, when Zoidberg like slaps his head.
Yeah,
on the
when
professor's-
Farnsworth is like, and he sprays the fish pheromone on him, and all the fish jump on him, and then it's like. It's super funny. It is a little bit creepy the way that like Zoidberg comes over, and I like that Farnsworth's reaction wasn't like disgust. He wasn't embarrassed. He was like not turned on. It was just a very like, oh my, like he was kind of like I don't know.
I'm
Oh.
so
They're-
into you.
They're very old friends.
Yeah.
And I bet that would feel kind of nice. Like a little bit of suction and some pressure from tentacles.
Especially
on
if you
top
have
of
a
your head.
bald head like that.
Yeah. I think the only shortcoming I really have in the episode, and I don't know that they could have really wrapped this up more in a different way, was like Fry decides to Fry decides to stay with Umbriel and become an heir to the city of Atlanta. And given the fact that he's not a merman, they seem surprisingly open and tolerant, except when he wants to go visit Zoidberg at the country club, and they're like, "Oh no, you won't have any of that," which I thought was, interesting commentary.
I think that was the idea was he was enough like them, but Zoidberg was still.
Still the other,
Yeah, he's the other thing.
but then also that Fry didn't kind of consider the physical ramifications.
No.
Well, Fry's an idiot.
Well, yes. Fry is so dumb because. But no, back to Zoidberg. I miss that. Like, why did he end up staying? Like, why did he decide to stay?
Well,
because he had
like,
a house.
Because he had that shell and
Okay.
he turned that into his house, but then it burned down.
Underwater.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of a cigar that Bender left in there, and then Hermes is just baffled because he's like, it's like, wait, how did it
even
burn
more
down?
questions.
That just raises further questions. That's amazing.
I forgot about that whole point, and
Yeah.
then I meant to make a note about that to bring that up to you because of just the joke of it not making sense.
It made me wonder, like, could you have well, I guess of course you could have a fire underwater. Just,
The the Cuyahoga River caught on fire.
right, but that was
It's
on
possible.
the surface.
Yeah. But I don't think you could smoke a cigar underwater. I don't think
No.
you could catch a
But maybe
shell
inside,
on fire.
do you think the inside of Zoidberg's shell had like an air bubble in it? So Bender went inside the shell to hang out.
So you're trying to
Let's
answer
see.
the questions
I'm
that
just-
Hermes couldn't fathom.
I mean, why were there wooden supports inside the shell that were left in the dirt?
Because that's what burned down things look like. Even though the wood would burn more, but they're just.
Well, he could get Zoidberg in there to move a couch, but he just no stairs.
Was the shell made out of the same stuff that Bender's chest cavity was?
Probably.
Okay, so there was some kind of intergalactic TARDIS-like void inside the shell. That would be pretty cool if you could just move your house around like that. Like none of that tiny house bullshit.
Yeah, you have an actual big house, but
It's tiny.
tiny on the outside.
Tiny. Would that be a big tiny house or a tiny big house?
I think it'd be a tiny big house.
Okay.
It's just a conch shell, right?
Maybe. It was
Or
pretty
a-
big.
Or giant hermit crab shell.
I thought, aren't hermit crabs twisty?
They will get into anything. I've seen videos of hermit crabs climbing inside of pencil erasers.
That seems really dumb.
No, they're not the smartest. I mean,
They just find a shell, like a Zoidberg.
Wait. So hermit crabs aren't born with a shell?
No. They find shells.
I was saying, Psst, I love you.
And you can put other shells, anything into a hermit crab, and if it's enough, they'll go and make that their home.
Did you learn that in Florida?
No, I did not learn that in Florida.
Are
I
you-
didn't see
are
a
you
single
sure?
hermit crab.
he learned it from the episode of The Simpsons where Homer flips a can out the window and a hermit crab goes and gets the
Yes,
can.
like I learn everything. The Simpsons. That's where I learned to love this show, Futurama.
It was a good one, but then kind of an abrupt end.
But a great end because I love
Yeah.
I love how it goes from I'm going to spend the rest of my time here. And I realized he can't have sex with her. His solution was if she had a fish head and lady body,
Which
like
is-
lady
which
second
is
half,
what,
is hilarious.
Oh shoot, what was her name? Zoidberg. Mona? Was that her name? On Zoidberg's planet?
Oh, no, I don't remember her name, but it was...
Yeah, I think.
No, it wasn't Mona.
He's actually run into that exact sort of situation where the girl from Zoidberg's high school that he had the huge crush on and tried
Yeah,
to
but
mate
she was a
with.
crab lady, so he's
But she was lady from the neck down and just Zoidberg up top. I mean, she had a lady body.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
made of
she-
what, though?
yeah.
An exoskeleton?
I don't know.
I mean,
the
don't
point
get-
is he needed a vagina.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I
And
mean,
still, I would not want to get with a mermaid that was fish head.
Did
Yeah,
you,
it's terrifying.
did you see that on the infosphere? I didn't write it down. That was taken from something where it was like a Twilight Zone thing or something where, but it wasn't the Twilight Zone, but Outer Limits or something where the guy and then the mermaid, but then it was the fish top, or maybe I'm gonna be way off. There was something that was.
I feel like it was an
they-
episode of SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
I feel like I've
Uncut.
seen that character on there. You know, the fish top, legs.
That's almost like a Terry Gilliam thing or something. That's like
That could be.
Monty Python interstitials.
You guys aren't gonna believe this. It's 2 for 1 at Krispy Kreme. Also, there's mermaids. Cross that note off. Coca-Cola. We just spent too much time on that. Donovan.
So
Yeah, James
Umbriel's
Bond.
Umbriel's father, the Colonel, clearly modeled off of Colonel Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
Who's from
That's-
Kentucky, which is weird.
Well, it.
They just think
yeah,
they wanted a Southern gentleman.
just sort of a it's sort of a southern.
And you can't get much
Stereotype.
more Southern gentleman than
Oh,
the
yeah.
Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, I. First of all, you know he wasn't really a colonel, right?
Yeah, we all.
What's your favorite fast food chicken place?
Honestly, I can't speak.
You haven't had them all? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? Of the
I mean,
ones
I
you've had.
predominantly had Kentucky Fried.
That is
I may have
the
had
most popular
Popeyes
Midwestern one. So
or Church's
those
here
those
and
are coming
there.
up, but yeah.
But I mean, honestly, even after having some delicious fried chicken in Atlanta, my favorite fried chicken is the hot chicken from Chow Chow in Lakewood, Ohio. You should
Did
go
I
try
never
it
heard
out.
of it? Is it?
Oh, that's
a new
really
place?
good.
It's
Oh, my God,
phenomenal.
it's fantastic.
Oh, that
I'm
place is
addicted
so
to
Chow
good.
Chow?
Yeah.
Chow Chow.
Yeah.
So
You-
up the street, my daughter works there now.
Really?
Yep.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
We eat there like 3 times a month.
It's so good.
How could
Yeah.
I
It's on
can't
Madison.
I can't believe I haven't heard of it. Like it's probably something that like
Because
people
you
said,
lived
blah, blah,
in
blah.
Georgia for a
It's
while,
been
and,
open,
now, and then
it's
you
been
lived
open
in.
for a year.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You need to put a link to it in the show notes, and maybe they'll recognize that we were talking wonderful things about them. But it's
I run into the
Then-
owners out in like because I mentioned it on the radio show
Yeah.
from time to time, and they're like, "Hey, thanks a lot."
There's
Every time you
super
mention it, we
nice.
get like a bump. I'm like, "Good, I'll mention it every week."
super nice guys.
If you're in
and,
Cleveland, go to Chow Chow.
yeah, it's everything there is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it's a like a chicken place specializing in like
Yeah.
it's
soul food.
It's
Okay.
hipster
Oh,
soul
yeah.
food, but it's done really, really well.
Okay, but now get back to answering the question.
About
Oh,
the,
yeah, yeah,
So
what's your-
Always
so
what
sidestepping.
I know.
Oh,
I know,
but
I
no,
know.
that was your answer though, right?
Yeah,
but I
I
asked you
can't-
chain.
No,
I
you have
asked
to
you
win chain. We want to chain.
I
restaurant.
can't speak definitively about any others than Kentucky Fried because I just don't have
Okay.
experience.
So
with them.
then that's your I mean,
Are we talking chicken? Just chicken, not
It's
any sides or anything else.
It's the
It's
fried
your
chicken
favorite-
restaurant of choice.
yeah. Yeah, if you're like, oh, KFC's my favorite because their fucking corn on the cob is the best, or the mashed potatoes or something, or
I'm gonna have to go merely because of one of their dipping sauces, Popeyes.
okay, that's a good reason. Dipping sauce is important. Yeah, Bill.
I am torn because I feel like all of them are good. I don't feel like there's one chain
It's hard
that
to
I'm
fuck
like,
up
that I
fried
this
don't
is
chicken.
like.
so bad.
Yeah.
But like, I love Bojangles. Have you ever had Bojangles?
Yeah, Bojangles. They
Not-
had
not
in
for
Georgia.
probably 20
yes.
years.
I
Okay.
saw signs driving back from Florida
Yeah.
of that, and I wanted to stop so
It's-
bad, but we
the
didn't.
biscuits are the best fast food biscuits you can like.
But also the reason I like Bojangles so much is because I feel like I'm getting away with something. I know it's not racist, but it feels racist.
It's a little racist.
We're trying to suck up the
Kinda-
Trump voters, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
I mean, it's-
you guys told me
it's-
that.
I mean, you would not if you were starting a new business in 2016.
You
You,
would
would
call
not be
Bojangles.
Bojangles.
Yeah.
No,
Even if your name was Bo and your last name was Jangles, you would not be calling it that. It's too fraught.
Bojangles is good. I love Popeyes too. I love KFC. I love fried chicken. So I'm not. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll get the fried chicken from
Local.
Giant Eagle.
Yeah.
Like I'll go.
Oh,
like and
yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
that's amazing. You
8
know what?
pieces for $8.
You know who has the worst? I will go on record is the worst fried chicken from a grocery store that I've ever had, and I've tried it multiple times.
Kroger.
Heinen's.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Their
They're
fried
usually-
chicken is horseshit.
Huh.
Horse
And it probably costs
shit.
like $16 for 4 pieces.
And they usually hit on a lot of.
Most of their stuff is great, but that is one thing that they have not figured out.
I haven't. Just mentioning lines I enjoyed in this episode. We all missed our loved ones in gases. When Hermes is like, "I want to get back to me wife and me oxygen."
That is the name of the last act.
Is what?
The exact quote you just
Yeah,
said.
we almost had loved ones in gases.
I've got some gas for you, Archie.
Remember
like-
earlier when he farted?
No. It's nitrogen. I have it in a canister upstairs.
Is
I
that
might have-
for getting high or for racing? What are
We'll
we
figure
doing? I don't
something
know
out
how.
with it.
I might have missed it. So after Fry realizes that he can't actually have sex with the mermaid,
Yeah.
he runs and gets the
That
hook
look
of the.
on his face when he's running and like through the water, kind of in slow motion, like the leaps, like is one of the funniest moments of.
Yeah, he grabs the hook, and then that attracts the big fish again. They catch the fish, which dragged earlier had taken
Dragged
the-
it
yeah,
underneath,
it took them
yeah.
to the bottom of the ocean, and now, for whatever reason, because they put a fin on the boat
Yeah.
or on the ship, they can overpower it.
I like that they do that the fin thing, and this is a funny little psych. I go, oh, we fixed the engine, and it's paper mache, and it's just that. And then later when they do the Star Trek thing and put the engines on, I like that they just like weld shit onto the ship, to, like,
And then it
make
works, yeah.
yeah.
Like space travel's that simple.
Yeah.
So Bender made that hook out of an umbrella, like a sun parasol. Do you think
Ella,
the structural integrity of that was something inherent to it, or do you think his bending technique made it unbreakable versus that giant fish? Because it took
Maybe
a
it was
beating.
a good steel, you know,
Yeah.
parasol stand or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, the fish probably wasn't like. I mean, you can hook a fish with a normal hook or whatever, and that was an umbrella, but it was just attached to that diamond, unbreakable diamond filament.
you're
So-
saying why didn't he pull that?
Like, yeah, that
parasol
parasol
apart?
should
No.
probably should come
Yeah,
apart.
I'm
you're- yeah,
saying,
you're right.
I'm saying it's impressive that it did not break, and I'm wondering if it's something inherent to the parasol or inherent to Bender's bending technique.
I don't think he can change the molecular like.
I think it's a combination of both.
Good answer.
He is really good at bending.
Anything,
I think if it
anything
broke-
to end this part of the discussion is fine by me. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go both.
So,
If it broke, there wouldn't be an episode.
Yeah, right.
if they license hadn't been wrong, the wrong license, like that was a good like, oh, they need to go fishing. I like the I don't remember why. It was probably the mermaid thing when.
Now's the part of the
Carlton
podcast where we
just reading through my
try to
notes.
find out why Horchie wrote certain
No,
notes
this
down.
time it wasn't the like I wrote down a word. I don't know what the what. You half mad, half insane maniac.
Yeah,
Why are you
that
a
was
bee?
good.
Fry, do you realize if you stay here, you'll permanently adjust to the pressure or whatever? Realize it. I don't even understand it. That was a good one.
Oh, I also like.
That's such a great line that you could use for so many situations that we've been through in the past month.
Oh, yeah.
in this country. It's like, oh, why'd you vote for Donald Trump? Don't you realize what he's gonna do? Realize it.
understand, yeah.
He's got a hot wife and he's a billionaire.
He was on TV.
Yeah.
Before he was on TV. He was on TV before.
Did you guys already talk about Zoidberg's house catching on fire? Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
Ad nauseum.
Did
The
you guys
other-
talk about the? I'm not. It turned out I loved her, but I wasn't in love with her. Amy whispers trouble in bed.
Trouble in bed. Yep.
The Amy line where professor's like, did everyone take their pressure pills? And she's just like, yes, stop asking. They get back up onto the land, and Bender has the world record for the biggest fish, or the most
biggest-
weight
yeah,
caught.
yeah.
He gets $1,000.
And it was on a big check. That's for like a. I mean, for the giant check, $1,000 doesn't seem like worthy of giant check.
Well, you know what? That kind of brings it full circle because we asked you about that, I think, the last time you were on, whether
What, a
you had
giant
ever
check
done
thing?
like giant scissors to open a thing or given away a big check. Have you ever had to do that in the interim?
I have not, but I just got to see that someone else win one.
Really?
Jasmine Carter just won the Cleveland Comedy Festival, and she had a big check for $2,000.
Awesome.
So she got to hold that up. But I've never had that experience.
She's really funny.
very
She's
funny.
legitimately.
Are there only
hilarious.
certain
Yeah.
banks that will cash those giant checks?
Yes. Only the big any bank that was part of the bailout.
You have to climb up a giant vine into the clouds, and then there's a bank up there you can take that check to.
The hardest part is finding a marker large enough to sign it.
Yeah.
Because you have to do the scale.
You have to go in those novelty pens.
That would be kind of hard to do because you'd have to master the whole motion, even with a big pen. Then you've got to like write it big.
My
And then you
handwriting's
just try and
bad
do
enough.
mobile deposit. You're like, I can't get far enough away.
I had to rent a helicopter.
Get a ladder.
To take a mobile.
And then they throw in one little quick Zoidberg gag at the end. Not great, but just in there, when Bender's crushing Fry's neck and he can't breathe, and he's making the great Billy West like sound, and then
Whatever. I've been
his
doing
gills
that this
open,
whole episode.
the colossal mouth bass's gills open up, and Zoidberg's like, I'm trying to sleep in here, and then slams him shut. That was.
Zoidberg just wants
That-
a place
and
of his own.
that
That
was
was a
where-
great one. Zoidberg did carry that whole episode.
Yes, he absolutely did. And that was where I was getting at the whole end. It was like Zoidberg was staying down there, and then his house burned down, and then all of a sudden he was in that fish at the end. Like he just got back
He
up.
was like, I found some other place for no rent to live.
Yeah, Zoidberg is he's always looking for a new angle. Like you're not gonna keep him down. He is a guy that struggles, but he doesn't ever let it stop him.
No.
That's why I'd like to see
It's
just a
inspiring.
Zoidberg show. I think it could be all kinds of like. It's almost like the luckiest hobo or whatever. He's just like, oh look, I'm rich now. I'm not. Okay, what's gonna happen tomorrow? I don't know.
We'll get to that episode later.
Yeah.
Oh, is that an episode?
Yeah,
Eventually,
I was
yeah.
just gonna
Yep.
say there's a lot of hobo-y things happening to Zoidberg in general.
Do you want to say anything else that I can put in
Yeah,
before?
Nah, just-
and
If you
Like, I didn't know you had a Walking Dead podcast.
Yeah,
What's that called? And how do
it's
you
called
find
the
it?
Walker Culture Podcast, and we do it every time there's a new episode of The Walking
Okay,
Dead.
so it's
So
like
you and Wanda Mayfield?
during the
Me, Wanda Mayfield,
the
and
two
Jake
half
Kearney.
seasons when it's on. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so we do it then, and then
So it'll come out like a couple days after the Sunday after the newest?
we record it Sunday night, and then it's up Monday
like right
morning.
after, like when
Yeah.
it's fresh. Like
do you not
Oh.
edit it at all? Is it all just
No,
raw?
Jake does it because he's 21 and doesn't have anything else to do.
Oh, okay.
So he does all that stuff. That's the one that I like because I do the Grandma podcast, and all the editing on that one is up to me, so I don't edit it. I just here we go. There it is. Put it out there. Just
Just
follow
send
me
us-
on Twitter and stuff
There you go.
at Bill Squire.
Yeah, so sorry for the... Well, it doesn't matter because there'll be episodes before you hear this, but it's nice to be back at it.
We never apologize.
I'm glad you...
I'm glad that
you made
we're
it
back. Yeah.
I've been so existentially adrift not having this every Tuesday night.
It was weird. I almost called you on a couple Tuesdays to see if you just wanted to like sit around at your table and talk.
Man, I just sat in Florida sometimes just talking into a hairbrush, pretending I was talking into a microphone. So I'm just glad to be back, and it's fun. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, it's
Thanks
great
for
to
having
have
me.
you on again.
I would love to come back again.
Would you watch an episode of Futurama and then just stare into the mirror and talk to it about the episode?
I did.
You can email us at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at slurmcastpod, Instagram at slurmcastpod. You can call us and text us at 216-438-1077.
Slurmcast.com. You can reach all of that. Please keep putting stuff up on iTunes with ratings and reviews and things like that, because that really helps us.
Ratings, reviews, and shares make podcasts prominent.
Yes, exactly.
Can you make this the end? Dinosaurs.